Well, it seems that Tim Walz has just turned himself into General Tim Walz because he is now creating a 34,000 man army in his state. In fact, there's also 4,000 others there in the state of New York. I mean, you guys are going to be livid by this report because there's so much I'm going to show you. Not only that, but, it seems that Hollywood celebrities are also calling for lists of conservatives, track your neighbors and stuff so you know who is on their side. It's almost as if they want an internal war, which I have said numerous times on my channel. You guys know exactly where I'm going with this. But let's start this. Let's start with this. And this is on the Washington Post, right? And its headline, thousands of new ICE watchers hit the streets after 2 killings. More than 34,000 Minnesotans have signed up to be trained as U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement observers, keyword there, with various groups in recent weeks, many of them since January 7th, when a federal agent shot and killed Renée, who, by the way, was trying to run over the agent after an encounter with an ICE convoy in South Minneapolis. It goes on, the killing of Good, and on Saturday, ICU nurse Alex Pretti underscored the dangers for the city's widespread resistant movement, a loosely connected network of neighborhood volunteers who communicate on Signal, the private messaging app, as they play cat and mouse with heavily armed and masked federal agents on snowy streets. Here's the deal. Look, 34,000 people are joining these anti-ICE groups all over the state of Minnesota. And their entire purpose is to, well, they say it's observe, but this isn't exactly what is happening when they get out there. They literally called Renée Good a legal observer who one can contest that she definitely used her car as a weapon. I mean, this is what we're dealing with here. And Alex Pretti, as much as I hate that any of those happened, and it's bad, he took a gun to a protest, which is your Second Amendment right. You have every right to do that. I'm not against that at all. But I am against somebody resisting arrest and impeding in an investigation, which is a crime, by the way, when you're carrying. Like, it's just not a good, safe spot for yourself to be in. If you've ever taken a CCW class, they're like, hey, don't put yourself in risky situations and always listen to cops. I mean, that would go along. And very sad. My heart goes out to both of them. I don't want to expand on that, but here's the deal. It's also, they're also building a mini army in New York. Here's New York Post. New York City socialists mustering an army of 4,000 anti-ICE activists to bring Minnesota tactics to the Big Apple. In other words, Minnesota is just the testing ground for other states to hopefully, if you're a Democrat, hopefully, get some activists in that state. The reason why this is such a big issue is because if you look at 34,000 people, that is a lot of people who are using the Signal chat group. Potentially some of them are being trained to use it or whatever, which, there's some sketchy stuff going on in that. But anyway, they're being trained to be legal observers and hopefully peaceful ones. But here's the deal. This will highly outnumber the ICE agents there in Minnesota. And I mean substantially so. And this is on PBS News. And it says 2,000 federal agents sent to Minneapolis area to carry out largest immigration operation ever, ICE says. That was as of January 6th. So imagine 34,000 as opposed to 2,000, right? Obviously, they're not all going to be out at once, but it looks like there's going to be a lot of trouble in the state. And I think that's something we need to call attention to, right? By the way, if you really want to be in the know of what's going on, I want to encourage you, get to restricttherepublic.com. I've got a lot of great stuff on there. But if you sign up there, you can get it right now for $5 per month. Use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5, and you can get it for that $5 monthly rate. But we have all kinds of exclusive content that I'm sharing on this platform. So I really want to encourage you to get there because you're not getting all the information here on these controlled platforms. So sign up for restricttherepublic.com. And by the way, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that sub button. And make sure you have the all bell button checked. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't send out the notifications potentially, but maybe once or so per year. But with that, I want to show you that over in Minneapolis and over in Minnesota, things are not really getting better with Tim Walz there. Even with the removal of some of the ICE agents that Donald Trump has said he was going to do, and the changing of leadership there. But here, this was submitted from South Minneapolis, right? Agitators have set up roadblocks in the area, and this is on Crime Watch MPLS. But you could see they actually have, a whole section there that they've set up. This is insane. In fact, they were stopping people in their vehicles and asking for IDs. Like, whoever's coming along, we need your ID. That's literally what they're doing. So they're stopping people and say, hey, prove this, prove that, show me who you are, and then we'll let you through. Oh, Lord. They could get themselves in a lot of trouble for doing something like that. But speaking of, over in LA, there's also protests and stuff happening in LA. This is a recent one, Fox News. And I'll just show you the footage here. But you can see that's Fox News reporter, and I'm going to turn off the sound there, but they start getting surrounded by these anti-ICE protesters, and she's walking back, they keep approaching her, and then she just ends up walking away, and they're like, hey, this is what's going on here. And they're literally shouting and blocking their camera lens down in LA. And you can see here, they're kind of getting a little further. She backs away. But this is just insanity. Here's another one here. This is a protest from LA. And I want you to hear what they're saying, because they're telling people to be like Renée and get in the way. Take a listen.
Be like Renée! Be like Renée! Be like Renée! Be like Renée!
So they're saying, be like Renée, get in the way. In other words, obstruct ICE officially and get in the way. It's so strange. All of this comes at the exact same time that all the fraud is going on in Minnesota. But hey, we all know that already. Meanwhile, there's also things like this happening. This is at a school, Chloe Day School in New York. They actually held an anti-ICE protest in the school with kindergartners. Yeah, legitimately. And they've got their signs and their love and, and all of that. But this is literally what is going on inside of a school in New York. I told you some of this stuff would really tick you off. Speaking of crazy lunatic people, here's Miss Maxine Waters telling ICE that they're going to fight them every step of the way. Take a listen.
Representative, what is your message to the people here today?
Stay on the street. Stay on the street.
They're on federal property right now. What would you?
Stay on the street. Stay on.
What's your message to ICE agents?
ICE agents, we don't want you in Los Angeles. And we thought you had sense enough with the president to start getting out of Minneapolis. But I guess you have no sense. And you don't understand the power of the people. We are not going away. We don't want you in any of our cities in this country, and we're going to fight you every inch of the way.
What's your message? We don't want you in any, and we're going to fight you every inch of the way because ICE is in their city doing their job that they're supposed to be doing. I think we need to start cutting federal funding to all these states that are refusing to deal and handle with ICE. Meanwhile, you've got a bunch of stupid celebrities out there. Breaking Bad star came out and he's calling for a revolution and that, hey, it's okay if some people die as well. Literally what he's saying. Take a listen.
This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting. Some very rich old white men are exerting their power to suppress our own people, thus creating a feeling of civil war in the streets, preparing the haters to hate, teaching them how to shoot. They're not even trained right, to kill. This is all a preparation for a very insidious problem that's happening in our world. And for me, I have to speak out that we will not be iced out. This is not going to happen. They can't take us all down. If the whole world showed up on Putin's doorstep or on the Iranians' doorstep or in Washington, it would stop. They'll kill 550 million, however, but the rest of us would survive with a new.
The rest of us would survive. It might kill some people, but hey, if that's where we gotta go. And he's talking about civil war, literally. Oh, what about this, Chamoke? Kathy Griffith, she actually calls for literal lists to be created, so people can track who their neighbors are.
Those of you that are awake, that see what's going on, what do you think the solution is? I think the murder of Renee Good, the murder of Alex Pretti, putting children on planes and taking them to detention centers, which are really concentration camps.
Whoa, concentration. Here we go again. Let's just keep. I'm sorry.
Call it what it is. They're concentration camps in the United States of America in 2026. So take that in, and I know you don't want to participate in something radical. I don't either. I wish I could just go on the road and do my funny stories about celebrities or making fun of politicians, but not even have to acknowledge this. But it is happening all around you. It's happening around you. I live in Los Angeles. It's happening at targeted places in Los Angeles. And I think it's time to talk to the neighbors in real life. It's time to talk to your neighbors, find out if they're MAGA or not. Sorry, but we have to know who's on our team and start to plan. Is there a way we can do something as a community?
Wow. So in other words, make a list of your conservative neighbors, your friends, your family, your loved ones, and then we have to make a plan, you know? So she's basically saying, track who they are, know your enemy. And then they're going to make a plan. What exactly is this plan, Kathy? I really want to know, especially since you held a bloody head of Donald J. Trump. But let's move on to another invalid. Here is an actress telling people to be mad at ICE.
I'm Jane Fonda.
And I'm Jane Fonda's internal lesbian anger.
That's new.
Dana, I'm not a lesbian.
There's still time, Jane. There's still time.
I've been fighting injustices like these for a very long time.
She's been fighting like this for like 100 years, everybody.
Oh, let's not go that far.
70? 70?
That's better.
She's been fighting like this for like 70 years, everybody.
So I'm here to remind you to exercise your First Amendment rights.
Fight for the Constitution,
Freedom of speech.
Speak the up.
Freedom of assembly.
Get your asses out on the street.
It's time to be brave and stand up. Enough is enough.
There you go. Anyway, I can't stand that woman. I really and truly can't. Get on the streets, people. Get on the streets, she says. Here's another one. John Tharu. Do we think Newsom's DOJ will start with Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh types or just make it more efficient by raiding Fox and arresting everyone? In other words, these people, celebrities and whatnot, they're literally calling for the arrest and labeling and listing of Trump supporters. This is what it is. This is why I tell you they mean what they say and why we should really be concerned if a Democrat gets back in power, because people like this Chamoke are literally out there saying, hey,
says something about
let's arrest people. People like Kathy Griffin are saying, you know what, let's make lists of people. Let's arrest people from other celebrities. And they're all like, this is okay. It's fine. They're dragging people to concentration camps. So these people need to go. No, we're not. Not a single concentration camp. Nobody is dying in the camps that these people have been sent to. Oh, and by the way, the so-called deportation facilities, they're holding temporary facilities till they can process all the paperwork or send them back to where they need to go. This has happened under every single president. Why now? This is what they do in countries all over the world. And now they're going to start acting as if there's concentration camp people being dragged. And they're flat out lying, I think, because the intent in the end is to round us up. That's what I see, because that is what they're saying. And holy cow, if they mean what they say, they'll be smiling ear to ear when they do it. That is why I am severely concerned about a 34,000-man army that's going to hit the streets of Minnesota when people like Tim Walz are not discouraging violence, but roll out encouraging it. Same with the celebrities and Maxine Waters, when our own personnel there are not even going to be a high enough number to counter the resistance. What happens then? Well, ultimately, I'll leave that for you to decide. Anyhow, I love all of you, and I pray for this country. I pray for the way that this country is going, and I think Donald Trump needs to be bold and do the right thing. Anyhow, I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.